The two biggest lies from the left versus the right that keep holding us back as a species. And look, who am I to say that I have all the answers? I don't. Okay, I'm not pretending. And I'm well aware of the Dunning-Kruger effect that makes people think they know more than they do. But it is important to rule out the falsehoods, filter out the falsehoods. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to do with this video. And it's interesting because the older I get, like I'm pushing 50, I just want to see problems get solved. That's all I want to see. And every problem has a solution, but certain people get in the way. And the people who get in the way from the left versus the right, that is the whole point of this video. There's too many people to mention. But the two that I put in the thumbnail, I put Fidel Castro, the aging Fidel Castro, wearing an Adidas tracksuit to top it off. Like that. I don't want to let my anger get to me, and I've been drinking a little bit of wine, so I'm going to try to filter myself. But that ghoul, that hypocritical, despicable, walking, talking societal tumor, never lived like a communist. He never lived like the communist/Marxist that he professed to be, which is why he's wearing an Adidas tracksuit and why he had so many homes, like the Black Lives Matter founders as well. They are three women that we need to stop, as at least in this country, we need to stop tiptoeing around the blood that these women have on their hands. Last year in 2020, well over 20 people died as a direct result of the hundreds of riots. Thanks to these, oh my God, I'm going to filter myself. I'm going to filter myself to a certain degree. Let's just say I don't like these ladies. And though they profess to be Marxists, Patrice Cullors was the one, at least, that was dumb enough to leave a trail of all the luxury homes that she bought. And the lies from the right, the reason why I put Jesus is because I grew up Catholic, but I'm atheist. And it's not just Catholicism and Christianity that are the problem. It's all religions, and the religious thinking that comes with it, which is magical thinking. The magical thinking that all religions spawn, that doesn't help people make good decisions. And again, the big lie from the left that communism can work if we finally just gave it a chance. If we worked, if we just followed the playbook by Karl Marx, by Das Kapital, it'll finally work. It's never going to work. You cannot centrally plan an economy, much less for more than, like, I don't know what it is. There's probably a point of diminishing returns when it comes to human beings. I think more than like 150 people. After 150 people, you cannot centrally plan an economy. If 150 people or so want to go off and buy a plot of land and they all agree to grow their own food and build their own houses and everything's going to be shared and communal, fine, go for it, go do it. Be yet another hippie commune that goes by the wayside. I mean, there's so many documentaries on this. These ideas are so bad. You could set your watch to them. You could, like, if you have a stopwatch, you could like set your watch and be like, okay, go for it. Let's see how long till your society collapses. And people keep falling for it. People keep falling for the lies from the left. And then people also keep falling for the lies from the right that, you know what, it doesn't matter. Jesus Christ is going to come back and he's going to save us all on Judgment Day. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. And for anybody out there who thinks that I'm just picking on Christianity, the only reason why I'm picking on Christianity is because, like I said, that's what I grew up with. I grew up with Catholicism. And a Cuban Catholic Catholicism to top it off down here in South Florida. And my whole life, by the way, I wasn't a Catholic in passing. No, from kindergarten all the way through my senior year of high school, it was Catholic private school all the way, which I appreciate. I love my parents. I miss them. They did their best. But I really wish I would have been informed more on economics and personal finances, and choosing a better vocation and career that's both fulfilling for me and productive for society. Instead, I became an artist. That's why you see all these drawings in the background. And I'm a half-assed talented artist. And what I really wanted to do was play music, and I just don't have the natural talent for it. I have more of a natural talent for drawing than for music, but whatever. The point is, I feel gypped. I feel gypped by my Catholic private education. And I can't say that I feel gypped by communism, because fortunately, but if there was one thing I really appreciate my parents doing, was leaving Cuba before spawning me as a child. I was born in Spain. Here's the interesting thing. They left a communist dictatorship to go to a fascistic dictatorship under Francisco Franco over in Spain, only to then come to the United States and have to deal with Richard Nixon, with Tricky Dick Nixon, who ended up being one of the first presidents, I think the only president that actually had to step down for what he was doing. And it's funny because the whole thing with Watergate, it was Cubans. It was Cuban exiles. Cuba's got its dirty little paws and everything out there. Look, the point of this video, without making it too long, and if I could speak to the world, is we need to drop. Can we please all, as a species, can we all hold hands together and just take one collective step towards our evolutionary future and leave behind these two atrocious ideas? The idea of Marxism and centrally planning an economy and the social justice garbage that comes with it, and groups like Black Lives Matter that end up weaponizing people's goodwill and end up deliberately distorting tragedies and exploiting them for all they're worth, so like one of their founders, if I'm not mistaken, could go off and buy more luxury homes in predominantly white neighborhoods to top it off. And can we also leave behind the falsehood that are all religions? Dude, we need to start accepting reality for what it is. That's how we solve problems. Not with magical thinking, not with these messiahs that are never going to come back, that never flew off into heaven on a winged horse, that aren't, these, like the Elephant Man, which I love Ganesh, by the way. I love Ganesh from Hinduism, but that guy doesn't exist. Okay? Love the little statue, but he's not real. It's not real. And the Hindu caste system, that is, again, well, that's up to the Hindus. That's up to about a billion Hindus are living in crushing poverty, all over a delusion that they did something wrong in a past life. And by the way, look, Hinduism is one of the few religions that actually, its core tenet, the whole concept of reincarnation, that is almost in line with the first law of thermodynamics, that matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just transfers from one form to another, usually via heat, if I'm quoting it correctly. They were almost correct. There are underlying currents of truth to all religions. Religions exist for a reason. There's no doubt about it. And there's a lot of truisms that you could find in the Bible. For example, pride comes before the fall, and I should watch out with my arrogance in this YouTube video. Apparently, I agree with quite a few things in the Bible, but many of those things are also false. And the real danger of, again, not just the Bible or the Quran or the Upanishads, it's religiosity in general. It's the magical thinking. It's the thinking that everything happens for a reason, and so just blindly go ahead and just blindly keep going off into the future. And this doesn't help us. This doesn't help us. By the way, if you're the kind of person who believes that, you know what, I'm going to leave it in God's hands, that's a sign you're not thinking of things very carefully. You have not done a truly rational analysis of the pros and cons and what you would do in business, which is threats versus opportunities, strengths versus weaknesses. You're not thinking things through, especially if it's a major decision. You know, it's one thing to leave it up to God if you're going to, buy something at a dollar store or whatever, and you're like, I think if God thinks this is a good idea, it's going to look good in my house. Yeah, fine. Man, you want to buy a little trinket that you're going to put up on a bric-a-brac or whatever on your shelf or something, fine. But you're going to buy a house. You're going to choose a partner to raise children with. You're going to pick a career, a vocation. You don't want to just leave that up to a fictitious, demonstrably fabricated figment of your imagination. And again, once it comes, the left is so much easier to deconstruct. A religion becomes a very personal thing, and I understand a religion for many people, it's their spiritual 401k. It's how they get through in life, and I don't want to pick on that one too much. But the left, the Marxism, the communism, the false hopes, the career politicians like Bernie Sanders that continue to misinform, and I do wonder if he's deliberately disinforming people about socialism, that we really need to wake up and open our eyes to. And I think more and more people are getting there, thanks to Jussie Smollett. Believe it or not, I could go into that. I don't want to make this video too long, so suffice to say, the two biggest lies from the left versus the right, the communism and the Marxism versus the magical thinking that you get with religiosity, it's holding back our species. So many of our problems could be solved so much sooner if it weren't for these two paradigms or paradigms, whatever, that we would be better off without them. Anyway, with all that said, I hope this video was informative at the very least, maybe a little bit enlightening, and dare I hope inspiring. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.